Today is July 10th, 2023. My name is Karen Neurohr. I am a professor with the Oklahoma State University Oklahoma Oral History Research Program, and today I'm with Mrs. Ann Scott, who's the former director for student programs, alumni awards, and signature programs for the Oklahoma State University Alumni Association. And I know that's just been one of your career employment jobs that you have had. Thank you so much for driving 240 miles from Lantana, Texas to Stillwater to participate in this interview today. We are here today to talk about Grandparent University, an initiative that you introduced and implemented during your time with the Alumni Association. This year, 2023, is the 21st anniversary year for Grandparent University. Grandparent University is often shortened to GPU, just like we shorten Oklahoma State University to OSU. So sometimes during the interview, I may call this GPU, that what we're talking about. So before we begin talking about Grandparent University, tell me a little bit about yourself.
As well, I'm Ann Scott. I grew up in Perry, Oklahoma, not far away. And sort of an interesting fact was when I was growing up as a child, I traveled with the OSU student entertainers across the state, and I was a twirler, a little twirler, an acrobatic dancer at that time is what it was called. And coming to Oklahoma State to get my degree was just second nature because I kind of grew up here and with Oklahoma State people. And so I have 2 degrees from OSU. My undergraduate degree is in history, and my graduate degree is in textiles and clothing. Interestingly enough, I ended up for my professional career being in alumni relations. And so the last 25 years, I've been involved in alumni relations at 3 different institutions. At Oklahoma State with the OSU Alumni Association for 10 years, and then as director of alumni at Texas Woman's University in Denton, Texas. And then for the 4 years before I retired, I was with a charter school, a management company out of Lewisville, Texas, called Responsive Education Solutions, and I started their alumni program there. So that's been a wonderful career, and my background in history has actually helped quite a lot with that particular career. My husband Charlie and I have been married 56 years, and we have 2 children, 2 grown sons and 3 grandchildren.
How was history helpful with your career?
Well, the way I viewed history when I was majoring in it was that I just had a natural curiosity about things. I wanted to know why things were the way they were. I also had sort of an appreciation for historical things, historical documents and significant events and things like that. So really in alumni work, we work a lot with past events that are significant for a university. And I was in the library and archives a lot looking up, historical things, using the yearbooks. So just finding out why things were the way they were and how we might use those to engage alumni and get them reconnected with their university.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I know you were involved in 3 significant areas of the Alumni Association at OSU: the director for student programs, alumni awards, and the signature programs. And then one of your initiatives was to help establish the legacy program. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, we about the same time as we moved into the Alumni Center, where the offices used to be, of course, in the student union. And we moved across the street into our new beautiful Alumni Center. And we launched what was called our Legacy Program. So this was to engage children of alumni and interest them in OSU and keep their parents connected through this program. So through the Legacy Program, we would start by having alumni register their child or grandchild with the Alumni Association, making them eligible to receive gifts throughout their life at particular times. So at birth, it might have been a bib, an OSU bib, and all the way up to when they were 16 for their 16th birthday, a keychain. So that sort of thing. And one of our most popular items was when a child started school, they got their Pistol Pete and Me book, and it told the story of OSU and Pistol Pete, and in a cartoon sort of interest, a children friendly way.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the launching of our Legacy Program. The Grandparent University, when we decided to start that, we wrapped that into the Legacy Program. So it became another feature of the Legacy Program. If you're a child or grandchild or registered, you're a member of the Alumni Association, then the idea was that actually the child received the invitation to come to Grandparent University and bring their grandparents along. So most grandparents are alumni, but some were not. But it was really the legacy that triggered that.
Mm-hmm.
And wrapping that into the Legacy Program worked out beautifully.
Well, how did you get the idea for this program?
For Grandparent University?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, when I was directing the student programs for the Alumni Association included the Student Alumni Board, our student group, and the Homecoming Steering Committee, which put on, the big celebration each year. And so I was looking on the website, and I don't remember what I was looking for, but I was looking on other Alumni Association websites to see something about homecoming. And I don't remember what I was looking for, and I went on the University of Wisconsin's website, Alumni Association website, and I happened to see this Grandparents University. They call it Grandparents University. And clicked on that to see what it was all about. And my understanding, once I learned more about it, was that the Wisconsin Extension Department or unit actually conceived this idea of this intergenerational learning. And they tried it one year, and it was successful, but they felt like teaming with the Alumni Association would make it more successful. They could reach a wider audience. And so it was picked up by the Alumni Association. And I had been looking, as an aside, I'll say I had been looking for something that would tie the Alumni Association more to the academic part of the university. When I came to work for the Alumni Association, I will say our director, Jerry Gill, had made it very successful. I'm not saying that, but it seemed like with the university academic side, they didn't really understand what we did. and they really didn't. They sort of came to us when they wanted giveaways if they were having something for their alumni, and that was about. It seemed to me to be about the knowledge that they had, and that bothered me. And so when I saw this program that included the professors and other faculty members from the academic side. And I thought, this is terrific. This is just great idea. And I also have always loved intergenerational learning. I think it's just, there's nothing more powerful really than that. So it is seeing this program, it really checked a lot of boxes for me as something the OSU Alumni Association could take the idea and really make it powerful in terms of alumni engagement, in terms of getting us integrated as an association into the academic world, part of the campus. And so that was, I wish I could say it was my idea. It was not my idea. It came from the University of Wisconsin. But we did take it and give it that cowboy flavor, of course, and made it our own. And we contacted them to see if we could come to visit. And so another staff person and I were going to go to visit their Grandparent University and learn more about it. Unfortunately, just a few days before we were to go, my father passed away. And so Dawn, the other staff member, went ahead and did attend, took terrific notes, came back all enthused. And so together we crafted the first proposal for this. And I took it to Larry Schell, who was my boss at the time. He directed all of the programs and operations of the Alumni Association. And I would like to say he was the best boss I've ever had. And so I sat down with him and said to Larry, this is what I want to do, and showed it to him. And he just looked at me and he said, well, you can do it, but it can't cost anything.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to figure out a way to make it pay for itself.
How much did you anticipate that you would need to launch it?
I had absolutely no idea.
Oh.
It's because, I started checking into the cost of a bus to, transport people, if there were any room rentals, and, and just put together a budget and figured out how much to charge the grandparent and how much to charge the grandchild, and how much we could afford to pay the instructor, how much their supplies might cost, that sort of thing. And we broke even the first year, believe it or not. And so that's how it all got launched. And once we saw it in action, we knew that it really fit in the bigger picture of the legacy program, which I think is what your original question was about. So it was a natural fit for one more perk of registering your child to be a legacy.
So do you remember what year that was that you started planning for it?
It must have been 2002, because 2003 was the first launch.
Okay. So after you had the green light to go ahead and try this, walk me through some of the planning meetings that you had. What do you recall about those?
Well, the first thing was to get the majors and get the academic folks on board with this. That was probably the most challenging, interesting part.
Imagine, yes.
And so for part of it, we could use what Wisconsin, the majors that Wisconsin had matched up with, because some of them had children's extension programs that they could adapt. So one of those was architecture. Mm-hmm. So I went to the architecture department, and they came on board right away. And they said, oh, yes, we have curriculum that we can adapt for this, and we'll be sure to, put us down. We'll do this.
Who was the person there? Was it Mobile BC?
It was his wife.
His wife, okay. Suzanne.
Suzanne, yes.
Okay.
And so that was, I believe they were the first recruit.
Okay.
Entomology was, we had 4 majors, architecture, entomology. They also had a really good children's extension curriculum that they could easily adapt. Mm-hmm. And they did, and that major was a hit from, both of those were just a hit from the very beginning. And then I knew someone, I had taken a class in broadcasting. And so I went to the broadcasting folks and asked them, and they were like, you want us to do what? Have grandparents here and little kids, and it was, yes, that's what I'm talking about. But it turned out they did get on board, and really, although they didn't have curriculum or anything written, really got on board and made it fun. And then the 4th one was Oklahoma history.
Oh.
And I wish I could remember the professor's name who joined us for that. But he put together really the most fun couple of days they did. And the thing that he did that was so wonderful is he had something for everybody, no matter what their age. There was something that they could take away from the class. So for the younger kids, they did a land run and out on the courthouse or lawn here downtown, and they went in and filed their claim, and they did a real fun things like that. And then on the second day, he had arranged for the lieutenant governor to be on screen. And so the grandparents loved that because they got to ask questions, and the kids asked questions about Oklahoma government. And so I really loved that major, of course, being a history person, and would have, loved to have seen that continue. But then he retired and nobody else really picked it up after that. But those were our first 4 majors, and 2 of them, as I remember, were easy to get on board, and the other 2 required some persuasion.
Mm-hmm. Well, 3 of those 4 are still offered.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the fun thing, you may have a question about this already, but at graduation, the first few years when the group was not as large as they are now, I'm not sure what they do now, but at graduation, the architecture people brought over the city that the kids had built and put it on display, and everybody got to look at that. The entomology classes brought their, bugs that they had identified and pinned, and had those on display. And then the broadcasting folks. Actually, we played 2 or 3 of their clips that they had done, that they recorded and edited and put together. So those first few graduations were very intimate, and you really got to see what the other classes had done. And so I enjoyed those a lot. So I don't know if they do still bring the things to display. There may not be room. There's so many people.
Well, they don't. I guess I can say this in the recording, but I'm a veteran of Grandparent University. I've been 7 times now.
Wonderful.
And taken 3 of my 6 grandchildren a few times. So, no, they don't bring things on display, but they do have pictures, a slideshow going in there.
Great.
Of that, what they did, the activities that they did. So you mentioned that one of the goals was to connect with the academic side of the university. Were there other goals that you were hoping would or that were part of this as well to get it started?
Well, it certainly, from the Alumni Association viewpoint, it was another trigger for membership. Because you had to be a member to register your child or grandchild. So it helps drive membership. And of course, it fit very nicely into the legacy program. And but really, for me, it was getting the Alumni Association more integrated with the university. And I think they still invite one of the provosts, vice provosts, dean, someone to come and preside at graduation. And so that was really a fun thing too, and they enjoyed it immensely, coming to do that.
So the faculty were compensated when it first started?
Yes.
I don't know if they are anymore or not.
I don't know either.
What was affordable within the budget that
Within
you
the
built?
budget was $150.
Okay.
So we paid them $150 to do basically the preparation, the afternoon and the morning sessions.
Okay. What were your considerations for housing?
We, of course, went to university housing, and they treated us as a camp. And so we just, that was very easy to get into their camp schedule and schedule rooms. The first few years we were in Patch and Jones, and I do another fond memory was being in Patch and Jones, and our dining facility was the old dining hall that was decorated like a diner, and I remember you went upstairs, like above maybe Scott Parker Wentz or in that complex. Do you remember?
I don't think I ever went up there.
But it was so fun, and the kids all loved all the old car decorations, and the salad bar was in a big car, and it was really a fun. And it was the groups were smaller, the dining area was smaller, so people really got to know each other there. But then as the group started to grow, we moved over into the other halls, Zinc Allen and those.
Okay, you mentioned transportation buses, and they still have that. They have chartered buses now that pick up the grandparents and grandchildren over at the halls and bring them into campus for things and then take them back. And So
it's not the, are they not the OSU buses?
no,
Oh, okay.
they're not. They were for at first when I first started, but now
Right.
they charter
Oh, okay.
buses. So what was the transportation, the logistics of that to figure out?
Well, I will have to say the OSU transportation department was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't bat an eye. They said, "Oh yes, we can do this for you," and they helped, work out the logistics and the pickup time and drop off time, and their drivers made it so fun. They were just really engaging and enjoyed the kids, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and probably when you started, and the last time we took our grandchildren, it was the OSU buses, and they were, Bullet and Pistol Pete bus, and and the kids just loved that.
Mm-hmm.
That they had different names.
Mm-hmm. They do name them still.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many years did you go as a grandparent?
Gosh, we took all three of our grandchildren in different configurations. Sometimes it was two, sometimes it was three. And the first year it was just our oldest grandson. And maybe 5 times. It wasn't consecutive, but.
What majors did you do?
My granddaughter, Abby, and I did horticulture. We did plants. We did geology. As a family, all of us, all three grandkids and both grandparents, we did aerospace, which we built rockets.
Oh.
And then my husband and our grandson from California did a really wonderful class, which I can't remember the name of, but they built, it was science, and they built molecules and different things like that. It was really neat. Major. So we've had a pretty broad experience. Oh, and veterinary medicine. My husband and granddaughter did veterinary medicine the first year. She went.
Did any of your grandchildren end up coming to OSU for college?
Our oldest grandson is enrolled for this fall.
Oh, okay.
So we're excited.
Yeah, good.
And speaking of goals, I guess the one goal probably goes without saying, that one goal of the legacy program was to keep those kiddos on board, to at least get them to consider seriously enrolling at OSU by being familiar with the campus and that sort of thing. So while it wasn't a specific goal of Grandparent University, it certainly contributed to that. I wish I knew the numbers.
Oh, I can give you that.
The numbers of
this year
kids that enroll.
Yeah, this year there were 556 participants and 20 majors and 21 different states represented.
That's fabulous. So I'd be so interested to track all the way through, who attended Grandparent University and eventually enrolled.
Yeah, I have a friend, and she told me that her grandson is enrolled, and his major is one of the majors that he attended with her at Grandparent University.
How fun.
I'll talk to her a little more about that. So let's go back to the budget and the cost and that kind of thing. One of the things, as you know, that they do are some giveaway items. It's probably built into the fees, the enrollment fees, but T-shirts, a little backpack, different things like that. So did you all have any particular things that you wanted to be sure and make available or give away?
Well, we always did a T-shirt, and we did I think the backpacks are fancier now. We did just a very simple the nylon with the string
I see.
for the kiddos.
Mhm.
They all had those, and they were so cute all over campus with those little backpacks on. And so those are the only two things that I remember. And I will comment on, we could not afford to do, a big party or anything like that. And the tailgate was very simple. It was pizza, and we taught the fight song and that sort of thing, but we didn't have uh, attendance of the athletes and the cheer squad, and all the spirit, that sort of thing. We didn't have bullet out back or the big inflatables, that sort of thing. It was very simple compared to what it is now, because of the budget primarily. And at that time, I mean, it's 20 years ago, so
Mhm.
it just wasn't as it wasn't expected, I guess you'd say, that there are bigger expectations these days of being entertained and so forth. And I remember that the night, I'm trying to remember, if it was after the first day or the night before it started, we simply had a get together out in the commons area behind or by one of the residence halls, and had, we picked up ice cream in a cup and brought ice cream, and we played, lawn darts and things like that.
Mhm.
And that was, so it was much, much simpler and much less expensive at
Mhm.
that when we first started out. But
Mhm.
I'm not to say I'm not thrilled that it's grown, and so many people can now participate and be entertained and welcomed and so forth. So, but we started small
Mhm.
and on a shoestring.
Mhm. Was there always a community partner?
Um,
When I
Not
started, one of the banks was a community
right.
partner, and now it's the Legacy Village.
Yes. It was one of the banks, probably not the first year.
Mhm.
That we may have brought them in by the second or third year, but they used to have, a drawing, or you guessed how many marbles were in the jar, and there was a prize for that, and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
But yes, for a long time, there's been a community partner of some sort.
Mhm. You were talking about the activity, the Wednesday evening activity, I think, and how it was simpler then. And I don't know what year they started the painting activity. Did they have that when you
No,
went with your grandkids?
they did 1 year. That went like one of the last years that I went with my granddaughter. We did that,
Mm-hmm.
but that wasn't original. We didn't have things like that at the beginning. We did. I don't know if they still do the campus scavenger hunt, but we did do that, and you would go. The grandparents and grandkids would go and take pictures at various campus landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
And the first people back with their pictures, won the prize or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was hot sometimes
Yes.
to be
That
out
has
and about.
changed a little bit.
But they had a lot of fun with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They do silly poses on the statues and stuff like that.
So the ages of the kids now, uh, the years that I've been, are ages 7 to 13. What kind of consideration went into what ages to allow?
We followed originally what Wisconsin had done, which was 7 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
I think after about the second or third year, we determined that 14, the cutoff should be 13 rather than 14. And part of the reason was the difference between a 14-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy was significant. And the girls were, chasing the boys, and it was just, and the boys were not liking it. And it was just not a good situation in terms of the social aspects, I guess you'd say, just because of that maturity difference. And it also made a difference in the classroom, as to what the girls were interested in or not. And that the grandparents seemed uneasy sometimes with that, to be real candid. So we decided 13 was a good cutoff date. And the 7-year, on the younger end of that, we did consider going 8 to 13 because some 7-year-olds are, have already been in first grade. Some are just going into first grade. And so you can get some age variation on that end as well. But I think it's, most grandparents can adapt to that a little better, and how to handle their less mature 7-year-old. And so it was, we kept it at 7, and obviously it stayed at 7.
It has,
Yeah.
What were the biggest challenges in the beginning, or over the 5 years, I think, that you oversaw the program?
Gosh, I'll have to think about that a little bit. Planning the opening session, it got to be a little more problematic. The first few years, it went great, and there weren't really any problems. And I was trying to remember, the first year I know we did the chemistry professor. And we went to the chemistry building, and he made things foam, and, I mean, we did a minimal amount of housekeeping. You can't lose your key, you can't do, here are the rules, here's what to do if there's bad weather, that sort of thing. So we did the housekeeping things, but then he did the demonstration, and he would have the kids come up and participate, and really, it was pretty hands-on. But you're thinking, we've got a much smaller group of people here, and he gave them each a periodic table, and just things like that, and they just loved that. It was a huge hit. And then one year we actually went to the band room, and which was in the Saratine Center. And a wonderful young man who was a graduate assistant did this opening session, and he gave everyone a percussion instrument of some kind. Everybody had one, and he talked to them about, I remember him talking about how there's a rhythm in everything. Your heartbeat is a rhythm, and so forth and so on. And the kids were just mesmerized. And then he said, okay, we're going to play a song, and I'm going to direct you. So and he talked about, when my hand goes down, you play your instrument, and so forth and so on. And I thought, oh my word, this is just going to be the most noisy, awful sound. But it was really neat and really came off beautifully. And then we went outside, and the OSU drumline played us a little concert. And that was our opening session. And I remember another one, we boarded the buses and went out to the equestrian team barn before they had their new facility. And the girls were demonstrating, what they were doing. Coach Sanchez was talking about how they compete and how they're scored and so forth. And they were all dressed in at that time, their Western outfits were very blingy. I mean, they were orange glitter and, black glittery chaps and stuff like that. And so, of course, the little girls were just gaga over that. And so those 3 opening sessions, I remember. Then it got harder to really come up with something that you could do. Now, of course, with the multitudes of people that there are, it's done in the Alumni Center. And but those first few, we actually went out into places on the campus. I think we did do another chemistry one, and was a different instructor, but they made slime and did some fun stuff. So it's too bad that we can't really get out with the large numbers, can't get out to see some of the parts of campus and participate that way at the opening session. But they've come up with some, at least a few times we've been there, they've come up with some interesting things as well at the Alumni Center.
You mentioned Dawn, who went to Wisconsin to, what is that person's full name?
I'm trying to remember. I believe Dawn Leith, maybe. And that wasn't her married name. I don't know.
Okay, I bet I can find out. Did she work with the program then for several years too?
Yes, yes. I mean, when Grandparent University is in session, every single staff member has a role, and her role with the Alumni Association. Well, Chad will remember. She was Chad Weiberg's. He probably still is in touch with her. He may still be in touch with her. She was his assistant when he was director of chapters.
Okay.
And so that's probably the wrong last name.
Okay.
So I'm embarrassed that I can't remember, but I know, I just don't remember her married name.
What other staff members stand out to you about those early years and the roles that they had?
Well, certainly Laura Malone, her name is spelled Lora Malone. She was director of membership, and Chad and Laura and I sort of headed up the legacy. We were kind of the legacy program team. So she was responsible for putting together the children's book that became, was a part of the legacy program. And like I said, everybody, when Grandparent University was in session, everybody was doing something, had a role. Whether that was checking people in, greeting people, loading buses, those sorts of things.
Did you have volunteer helpers?
We did in the last couple of years that I was directing. We had some of our chapter people that lived not too far away come and volunteer. And we called them major hosts. And so they were in charge of getting their group to the right place at the right time, basically.
Mm-hmm. And we still have those.
You still have major hosts?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. We do. Okay. Let's go back to the majors and the faculty. Did the majors change with the years that you oversaw this program? Were there some majors that were more popular than others? Were there?
Well, veterinary medicine was always the first to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, as I understand it, it's a little different now than it was then. It was geared for the very youngest kiddos. So they were mostly the 7, 8, 9-year-olds in veterinary medicine. But it always filled immediately. But other than adding majors, I don't think there have been that many changes. I mean, I think the ones we started with still exist
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, except for Oklahoma history. And it's just a matter of adding new programs. And Melissa Parkerson's done a fantastic job when she was directing GPU of recruiting new majors to fill the demand.
Mm-hmm. I have an interview scheduled with her next week.
Good.
Yes. Were there any other faculty that stand out to you about your time there? Any faculty that were involved? You mentioned architecture, Suzanne.
Not that I could call by name. They were all great. The young woman that started out teaching entomology, and I don't know if she's still there, and I wish I could remember her name because she was amazing. And she just had those kids in the palm of her hand learning about bugs. So,
did we have the insect adventure place? Did they go out there? Do you remember?
They did go out to the botanical gardens to catch their specimens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, did you have themes from year to year, like a different theme? Do you remember?
I don't remember that we did. We had a logo each year. I probably should go back and look at my GPU T-shirts, but I don't remember that it was as themed as it is now.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that surprised you about it and how it worked?
Not really. I always knew it would be. I always felt it would be successful because of the magic between grandparents and grandchildren that already exists. And of course, our OSU people are just wonderful. And so I'd had no idea it would grow to the size that it is. Before I left, the last year before I left, we were already talking about adding a second session.
Okay.
And so Melissa was very successful in doing that and recruiting majors for that. But we were already beginning to see the need to do that. Let's see. I think what your question was, professors that stood out, maybe. Gosh, they were all just terrific. So the architecture people were particularly engaging, I think, and creative, of course, in how they introduced the kids to the world of architecture.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the entomology gal was terrific. And Jack, what was Jack's name, was in broadcasting. He's the one that I talked into.
I think he did this for a long time.
Do you remember his last name?
No, I haven't met him, but it's my understanding. I'm not sure if he's retired or not, but it's my understanding that he did this for a long, long time.
Yes.
So.
And he was wonderful with the kids too.
Okay.
And I think the first year it was a little advanced where he started out with the group,
Mm-hmm.
but he adapted on the fly, to make it for them to have a great time by the time it was over, and then adapted from there. And so it's been a huge success ever since, as far as I know.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the benefits of Grandparent University from the Alumni Association standpoint. Building connections with alumni, strengthening the legacy program. Has fundraising for the Alumni Association been a benefit, do you think?
I don't know. The Alumni Association are more the connectors, not the fundraisers.
Oh, yes.
That's
okay.
the role of the OSU Foundation.
Yes.
And
okay.
so people wanting to, I guess people can contribute either place, but it probably the majority of contributions that would benefit the Alumni Association, say the homecoming endowment, that sort of thing, probably flow through the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time that I worked for the Alumni Association, we didn't do any fundraising. We perhaps had community partners or people that would sponsor things, but Larry Shell's dream was always to establish an endowment that would help fund homecoming, and I believe that does now exist.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
Yeah. But we weren't the fundraisers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As far as benefits for grandparents, what would you say are some benefits for grandparents?
Well, of course, that one-on-one time
mm-hmm.
with your kiddos, there's nothing quite like it. And I think it opened their eyes a lot to the new innovations that the university is working on, that the university, I think they came away with a whole new appreciation for what our faculty do and their research that they do, and just the innovations that come out of Oklahoma State because of that. And the professors during my time with Grandparent University were always terrific to work into their presentations something that grandparents would love to, or like a new wow fact that grandparents wouldn't know any other way except from the classroom, that sort of thing, some insider information, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so, gosh, the benefits, it's just, to me, Grandparent University is a win-win-win all around. Grandparents and alumni have a greater appreciation for their university. It adds in their minds to the value of their degree. And that's something else that is another goal of the Alumni Association, is to remind alumni of the value of their degree.
Mm-hmm.
So we do, and the kids, of course, love it. They have a ball, but they learn too,
mm-hmm.
and they remember.
What about for faculty? What do you think are some benefits for faculty?
I do think that they have a renewed appreciation for alumni. The um, intelligence of our alumni, the questions that the alumni grandparents will ask, um, the conversations that go on after class between the faculty and the grandparents. And I think they have a greater appreciation for not only what the Alumni Association does, but for our alumni base as well. This is just Anne's opinion, but I think a lot of our professors simply think of our alumni as fans.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, football fans. And they're so much more than that, and they're so much more willing to be engaged if you give them the opportunity. And Grandparent University gives them the opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a difference between faculty who historically themselves had ties to OSU and then those who came from elsewhere as far as how their interest in Grandparent University and the alumni, if you've already got that connection yourself?
I suppose there is. I don't really have any experience to base that on, but I could see
where it could be. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the data and the tracking. During those first years, what kind of data did you think was important to track, and did that change in any ways?
I don't think that we really did anything in terms of data tracking beyond what our database allowed. So we might, we would, of course, update any addresses and phone numbers and information that we might have collected during that time. We did track, of course, what people had majored in the previous year, so that if, when it started to get really full, we had to make some decisions as to what majors to put people in. We always tried to put people in their their first choices or first or second choices, but that became harder. And so it was important to track what maybe that grandparent and child had already done, so that they weren't, just because they loved vet med doesn't mean that they could do vet med again, even if that was their first choice. But just those sorts of things. We did, of course, mark in the database that they attended or in attendance at Grandparent University. But whatever the database information, whatever the database was capable of holding, we did add that information. Another part, this is another aside, but another part of the legacy program that we added was it was Legacy Weekend is what we called it, and juniors, high school juniors, were invited to attend and get a campus tour. And I don't remember, the Student Alumni Board actually planned and put that on, and they entertained them with some silly skits and stuff.
Oh.
And then they went to an athletic event. It was usually a girls' basketball game or wrestling match. It wasn't during basketball or the main basketball or football seasons, but they still got to go into Gallagher-Iva and see an athletic event. And so Legacy Weekend, I know that we could tell if someone had been at Grandparent University and was now eligible for the Legacy Weekend. If they came as a 13, 14-year-old, that it we could see that they were coming back.
So gave you another group to target as far as promoting the Legacy Weekend.
Right.
Okay.
So
did you conduct the surveys after the event of the grandparents? Did you do those from the beginning?
We did. I don't know if it's the same one, but the one that we did, we actually filled out in person right before graduation. I can remember, being in, and the early graduations were actually not on the stage in the Alumni Center, but were in a large classroom. And I remember that the grandparent and grandchild actually had time to sit side by side and fill out that together, to fill that out. And so it was on paper, but it was, what did you like, did you not like, or so are those still kind of the same questions that are asked?
It is online. Yes, they do want to know like your satisfaction for it, and if you have any suggestions for improvement. Typical, after an event survey.
Oh, really?
Type questions.
Because ours was more, that's something the kids could answer. Tell us what you liked best about your class, and tell us something that you would have changed about your class. And I remember that we sent. I mean, you're asking me to go back a long ways in my memory. But
I don't know if they send that. I received a request to fill out the survey. I'm not sure if my grandchildren
did
receive the request or not. I'll have to check with my kids and see.
Yeah. I wish I had a copy for your records of that old. Melissa might have one.
Well, I need to check with them and see what kind of archives they have there, because I don't think we have anything in the library, and then they want to archive some things. We could add that to the library.
If they have samples of the various years' logos, the various years' T-shirts, and things like that would be great.
And the schedules. I think it'd be interesting to see. Actually, I brought a schedule for this year. I don't know if it's changed that much. Here's the schedule. This is the schedule that we have this year, and I think last year was.
This reminds me. Can we go back to the question about the most challenging?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. When the pool at the Colvin Center was opened, and we wanted to get our kiddos access to be able to swim, that was very challenging. And I think it took at least 2 years to try to talk them into letting us do that. And at first and they may still have to, but I think we had to pay for, we got a bill for the number of people that accessed it. And so that was challenging. And I can understand why it was. It was new. It was, they were still learning how to use it, and how, who should have, just determining who should have access, and because of course everybody wanted to do it, but that was sort of a feather in her cap when we got that done.
In whose cap?
In the Alumni Association.
Yeah.
And well, those of us that were planning Grandparent University, because with those two things were not the Cowboy Carnival and the Paint Night are modern innovations, nice modern innovations, I'm sure. Pretty much the same, other than the pre-main events of things.
Well, they do the carnival out at Legacy Village,
Mm-hmm.
but you drive out there on your own, and it's come and go. And so they'll have activities for whenever you want to show up, during a certain time period. And sometimes the grandkids want to go, and sometimes they don't, But there's a nice variety of things for sure. And the food's always been good in the dining halls. So now we eat at North Dining, since we stay up there. So
right.
Haven't been any complaints about that for my grandkids, for sure. Okay, so as far as archiving information, that's probably a question for Melissa.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
She'll have probably electronic records as well as printed copies. I think her husband is the one who designed the various logos and so she should have access to all those.
Okay. Okay, so I noticed in the information that you sent me, there was some information there about your professional membership in CASE, the Council for Advancement and Support of Education. So I have a few questions about that, just for anyone who may be listening to this. So talk about the importance of involvement in a professional organization and what that's meant to your career.
Yes, CASE was, especially early in my career, was very important to me, and I think this is one of the benefits of a professional organization, of being a member of a professional organization, is just learning from people who are already professionals, and they can show you the ropes, if you will. And so that's a big benefit of a professional organization. And CASE is, interestingly enough, the kind of the philosophy behind it is, for the alumni groups anyway, your alumni are your alumni. So you're not in competition. It's not like maybe the professional organization for university recruitment or recruiters, because everybody's trying to enroll those kids. But your alumni base is your alumni base, and there's no competition there, or very little crossover and competition. So that's what made CASE alumni sessions so valuable. Everyone would share what had been successful for them. And jokingly, we said that CASE stood for copy and steal everything, because you didn't have any qualms really about talking about doing Grandparent University and how successful it was, or a new membership drive that you have initiated. If it, everybody in higher education benefits. And that was sort of the theme of CASE, and CASE did have a fundraising arm as well. So I don't know that group as well, but for alumni professionals, we enjoyed getting together, sharing information, learning from each other, and everybody. Anytime higher education grows, we all benefit.
Do you recall doing any presentations at CASE about Grandparent University, or working that in to any presentations there?
I'm sure we did. I don't specifically remember that. I did many on homecoming,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was directing that program, but I don't specifically remember doing one on Grandparent University.
Okay. I think I read that in 2004, the Legacy program received recognition as a Circle of Excellence award recognition.
Right. And that was after we had really built it out from just the legacy gifts to adding Grandparent University to adding the legacy weekend. So we looked at it as in a big picture, and I believe that's the reason we won the award is because we'd approached it in that manner.
Okay. After you left OSU for the position at Texas Women's University as the Director of Alumni Relations and the Executive Director of the Alumni Association, did you have any thoughts about initiating legacy program or something like Grandparent University there? I know you did a lot there and really built their program back up. I saw that in the your curriculum vitae that you sent to me, but was the legacy, your experience with legacy, any part of that?
I really would have loved to have done something like that, and we were just talking about implementing it toward the end of my time there. There already were 2 or 3 departments who were doing that sort of thing. The fashion department actually had something similar. In the math department, I guess it was in the computer area, they had something. And so I felt like it would be fairly easy to pull it all together. But there was a big turnover at the university, and so many things like that kind of got lost. But I think it would have been a wonderful program for Texas Women's University.
Do you remember ever advising any other alumni associations about Grandparent University?
Yes, we had, several people inquire about it, and of course shared information, and I always recommended that they talk to Wisconsin as well. And because we certainly didn't own it. I mean, it was, and not during my time, but I know just a few years ago, Texas Tech sent a representative. Melissa can probably talk to you about that. Sent a representative who took notes, and I believe that they have implemented something similar. She might know how many grandparent programs exist now across the country.
I did a little Google search. I didn't find a lot.
I don't think it's very many.
I think the ones that I came across were Michigan State, Purdue, Westchester University, University of Wisconsin, of course, University of North Texas, I found has started a program like this, and then Winona State University. So these are the ones that just came up in kind of a fairly quick search.
Yep. And I think probably you could add Texas Tech to that. At least I think they went ahead and implemented it. And
surprised Texas A&M hasn't done it.
Yes, with their huge extension program. Surprised as well.
I grew up in Texas. So, okay, so we're kind of winding down here. I just have a few more questions. Looking back over the early years of Grandparent University, what stands out to you about the program?
Well, one of the cute stories that a staff member told me was that and I don't remember if this was in the first year or the second year, but they overheard a grandpa on the phone with his OU friend saying, something like, well, eat your heart out. You guys don't have anything like this, and talking all about it and bragging about it. And so I thought that was that was so typical of our alumni to hold this over their OU friends' heads a little bit. But that was cute. That was fun.
That is. Is there anything that you would like to say to the current people that work with Grandparent University at OSU?
Well, I'm so thankful that they have pitched in and carried it on and made it continue to happen, for one thing, and appreciate all that they do to make it a positive experience. And I guess I would just encourage them to really listen to their attendees, the folks that attend, and kind of tune into them and what makes it special for them, what they could do better, that sort of thing. Just and really take those comments to heart, and try to act on them to make it so that it'll continue to be a wonderful experience.
Is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
I did have one story. I was, thinking about this interview, and one story I wanted to share, personal story about our family, and our experience. And this is just so illustrative of the OSU family, of what happened with us. So we were all in the space program, I've forgotten or what it was called, aeronautics or something, but where we built the rockets. Mm-hmm. So, and we had all three of our grandchildren. Our young grandson from California is a brilliant child, and I believe he would have been 10 maybe, but he has a history of really having trouble controlling his emotions, and his parents have worked wonderfully with him, and so he can get frustrated very quickly. And there, in that class, we did a lot of constructing parts of your rocket ship and that sort of thing, and he had at least one sort of meltdown, and all of the kids, came up to him and told him, gathered around him and told him, it's going to be okay, you can do it. It was just the sweetest thing you've ever seen. And then we got it. We went out. The very last thing we did was to go out and shoot off our rockets out in this field. And everybody's rocket had gone off the launchers except for Carter's. And so the instructor was wonderful. He took it and tweaked on it a little bit or whatever and set it up there to go again, sort of a last chance, And just collectively, you could feel the whole class just, let this rocket fly, or whatever. And it did. And everybody cheered. And I thought, this is so the OSU family. This is what this university is all about. Mm-hmm. And why it's so wonderful to expose your grandchildren to that family feeling and the people that care, mm-hmm. that are caring. Mm-hmm. So I did want to share that just because I thought it was a personal experience, but just so typical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's a little emotion there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And did he come to Grandparent University again after
Oh
that?
yes. Oh yes.
Did he look forward to it?
And they're from California, so he
Mhm.
traveled a long way to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, he came maybe 3 times
Mhm.
with us.
Mhm. And is he the grandchild that's coming to OSU?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, he's younger.
Oh, he's younger.
Yeah.
Okay, so he hasn't decided yet
Yeah.
then.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
That's a great story. I guess lastly, are there any key people that you can think of that you might recommend for an interview for this project?
Well, of course, you've already got Melissa on the list.
Mhm.
And, Dawn, if you can find her, and hopefully Chad Weiberg might, if you reach out to him, he might remember
Okay.
or even know how to. I've just lost, track
Oh,
of
sure.
her when I left to go to TWU. So, but she was certainly instrumental, and the very first one to visit Wisconsin and to bring back the ideas so that we could implement it. She was wonderful to work with, and so.
Okay. Well, I don't think I have anything else, but thank you so much for participating in the interview today. We appreciate being able to record and get this history down about this program that is continuing to
My
this
pleasure.
day.
I'm sorry to end it on a teary note.
No,
but,
that's okay.
I just, was thinking about something. If you asked something special about that, I remember about bringing our own kids.
Mhm.
I wanted to share that.
I'm glad you
was,
did. Yeah, I'm glad you did.
That was very special.
Yeah, yeah. I have fun. I have fun with it, and look forward to. My youngest grandchild's 3, so I have many years ahead.
Yes, you do. Yeah, we're all aged out now. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a fun experience for sure. So, okay.
Anything else from your notes?
No, I think we covered so much that I was interested in hearing about them. The number of people that participated, at the first year and how greatly that's changed is really interesting.
It's pretty dramatic, isn't it?
I mean, it just has to be an incredible amount of work now that it's grown to the size that it has.
Oh yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, but the number of years that it has been occurring too probably has made some things easier because they do know what works and what doesn't work, and so there's probably definitely some benefits there. So I think I covered everything that I was hoping to hear about and then some for sure. So thank you.